We on?
Mm-hmm.
Does it look good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm Jacob. This is the Preppers Bunker Outdoors. This is Friday Nights with Jake. It has been a little bit too long. Actually, it's been way too long. Ideally, for me to figure out how to do these live shows, I need to find a place to do them that I like, um, have the right topics, and have the right Wi Fi or data. And oddly enough, those things are very difficult to put together. So it's been a while. I've been injured. Please bear with me while I try and get this up here so I can read comments. But we're in my basement in the dungeon. This is a Wilderness Innovations poncho that can also be used as a hammock. I'll be using that pretty soon. Alright, I think we are good to go on the tablet. So, yeah, it's been a while. I think that we'll just do some small talk until a few more people show up. But I want to talk about a Kislyar Supreme stainless steel chopper knife, a few other chopper knives, and what I have going on the channel right now. Some plans. I'm crazy backlogged on videos. I have a lot of videos that I owe you guys that I'm going to do. So, I guess I can't look at comments on here? What's up? What is all this crap? Oh, here we go. Alright, I think I have this figured out. Anyways, so while we're waiting for people to hop on, I hit up the Benchmade topic again recently. They've just dug themselves further and further into the pit to the point where why even dig them out at this point? We talked about Surefire. Some of my followers, friends, and fans got the wrong impression. I am all about Surefire. I fully endorse them and fully support them. I believe that they are trying to do the right thing. I believe that they screwed up in a 4-year period by entering a pack, which is a little bit more complicated than specifically what Benchmade had going on. And that pack donated a little bit to Republicans and also more to Democrats who were in Homeland Defense. And so it didn't work. They didn't get their contract. They cut the pack in 4 years. It's a lot different than Benchmade. A lot different. So I hope I didn't give anybody the wrong impression. Now, with that being said, I wish that they never joined the pack, and I wish that they didn't do anything that involved getting a neck up on their competitors by using politicians. Sadly, that's the world we live in. And as an individual, I would like you to think of where you stand in the scheme of things when our politicians are being bought out by businesses and our businesses' competition is being crushed by politicians. Where does that leave average Joe or small business owner Joe like myself? So, with that being said, I am doing a new business venture you guys might know, JBP Social Media Management. Essentially, I'm running Instagram for other companies is the goal. So I was looking for work recently. If you're a longtime subscriber, you probably know that last year on my birthday I broke my ankle, put me out of work for 2 months. Then my first son was born. That put the wife out of work for 2 months. We're doing taxes. Last year was not good. I mean, we've been ridiculously tight. And so I started looking for a more regular job, which would cut down on, obviously, everything else in my life to include this YouTube. And I wanted to do social media management. The problem is some of the companies that wanted me for social media management, I wasn't so sure that I wanted to work for. The companies that I really want to work for social media management already have people or a person, if not an entire team. But you know, this is a $40,000 to $70,000 job if you're working full-time social media management and marketing. And the companies that I want to see succeed are not big enough to make that happen. So I came up with the idea of contracting myself out, and I'll run these companies' social medias. I won't be a full-time employee, but I'll do a lot of Instagram and Facebook work and everything else that it can entail for different packages at a much lower cost, and ideally represent more companies to make more money, or to make the same amount of money. Actually, I won't ever make the same amount of money, to make enough money to make it worth it, essentially. And so that's something that I'm working on right now, and it's been a good time. It's not financially productive yet, but I'm gonna give it a little bit of time. And my goal is to make it financially productive enough to get a cold brew coffee trailer, and I want to make rounds around town during the summer, Monday through Friday, selling cold brew coffee, and then take the whole winter off for YouTube adventures and a little bit of beach and tactical. I will be still doing beach and tactical. So I'm kind of worried that maybe my crap is not working here. Let me see here. Anyone home? Question mark. Comment. This, so I'm trying to use this old Kindle that I have, and it's a mistake. I do not think that this thing is up to speed. Anyways, so that's what I've got going on, guys. I'm really going to start trying to camp at least once a week now. And with that being said, one of the knives that I've been testing, and I'm actually sitting here by my fireplace, or wood-burning stove, just sweating my butt off. I've been using it as my fireside fro for splitting wood, is this Kisleyar Supreme. And this knife is very important for me to talk to you about, because not because of Kisleyar Supreme, not because it's the perfect knife, but this knife is AUS 8A or AUS 8. I don't know what people doggone say. Saber ground, flat grind. These scales, by the way, were modified by Spirit of the Bear Design, Michael Spaniers. He just does great stuff. If you're on Instagram, please make sure to follow him. He is an absolute artist, and someday I will have one of his sheaths. Someday. Anyways, AUS 8 steel, okay? And it's the reason that this is interesting to me is because you can have the nicest knife in the world at any custom level in essentially any high carbon steel, and nobody bats an eye. You know, you can have an $800 knife that's 1095, W2, 01, 80 CRV2, whatever. And it's not that big of a deal because people understand to a certain degree. But when we get into stainlesses and powdered metals, everybody loses their mind over edge retention. And the reason that I say that is these super steels and stainlesses are getting higher and higher edge retention, it seems like, as a goal. But they're losing sharpenability and I think toughness. So on the flip side of that, these same people who would have no problem looking at a very expensive high carbon steel knife, if you have a very affordable stainless steel like AUS 8 or 12C27 or 13C27 or 420 HC, 440 A, B, C, something like that, they stick their nose up to it. And the problem is that these simple stainless steels are very stainless, they're very tough, and they're very easy to sharpen. If everything else was the same, I think I'd almost prefer them to a lot of the steels that are incredibly popular right now. So, and what's interesting is people attribute these steels to cheap knives, and that's a shame. And these cheap knives, let's say M-Tech, people will be like, it's a cool design, but, you know, crap steel, whatever. First off, M-Techs are not cool designs. Most of them are absolutely horrendous, terrible designs with absolutely horrendous and terrible geometry, both for the handles and the edges, but more importantly, if they are using the steels they're claiming, because who actually knows, that Alsate steel is not bad steel, but like the rest of the knife, they're skimping on the heat treat. Everything that you pay for is essentially who's grinding, how they're grinding, heat treat, and then fit and finish. How exact are all of the scales and everything else. The actual steel itself is actually a very small factor in the cost of a blade overall, but a disproportionately large factor in a maker's ability to sell them. So let's say I was on the market for a $200 survival knife and I wanted stainless. Am I going to go with 420HC ALS 8 or 12C27, or am I going to go with M4? I'm going to go with the 12C27, even if the price is exactly the same, because it's the better steel for that application. And this knife is proving that. So I've been batoning the dog crap out of this for a while. It's held an edge all right. It's dull as dirt right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see. I do have some edge damage up there, and we're going to see how that sharpens out when I wrap up the video on this soon. Because I was camping the other night. I did not pay for this knife. I was camping the other night. I was sleeping on roots, and I just got tired of it. And I just went to town and stuck it right in the dirt. Did the worst thing I could have ever done. And I pulled it out the next morning, and I was like, this is bad. Doing my feather sticks, doing my stuff, no issues. So we'll see how this takes an edge back. If it takes an edge back well, man, this is really, really impressive. So I said all of that to say that I think it's time for the knife community, the knife user community, to rethink how they look at stainless steels. I think that we're being sold something by marketing teams that is not only not necessarily important, but potentially even detrimental to our knife performance and experiences with these blades. If you guys are commenting below, I can't see any of it. So this kind of sucks, because unless nobody's commenting, which is possible, it doesn't seem likely, but it's possible. But this is just going to turn into a video of me talking to you guys if I can't read comments, so I hope you guys are not disappointed. The next thing I want to talk about, though, is something that I'm very excited, another chopper showdown that I've got coming up. That is with the Ontario Bushcraft Woodsman. I've also been using this knife as a fro here in my basement. This is another blade that is stainless, and I have been beating on these. And just so you guys know, how I beat on these knives is with my trusty fireplace axe. You can see on the handle here where I hit the blade. So I don't hit the blade metal to metal. I hit right here. But this, compared to a baton that you'd use in the woods, is significant. And the Ontario does have damage along the spine, but to me it's not too bad. I bet there are a lot of stress fractures in this blade and stuff, but it's a 1/4 inch thick. It's pretty chunky, and I think it's going to be all right. Now, Ontario moved to stainless steel on these because they were a slow seller. So I'm guessing that means that the stainless steel is not only easier to stamp out in 420HC, but also they don't have to worry about corrosion or coatings or anything else. They stamp it out, they grind it, they heat treat, whatever, they throw it in a pile. It can stay there basically as long as they need it to, and it'll look just as good when it gets to the distributors. Ontario, I'm afraid, looks at all of the wrong ways to sell knives. They're probably, one of their most popular lines is the Rat Series knives, and their claim to fame is undercutting Essie and stealing their designs. And that's shady. I liked their Ranger line by Gingrich Tactical, but they're dropping that too, probably because it's not as good of a seller. But I just cannot see supporting Ontario in the Rat line. And I like Ontario knives. I like the guys over there. even though they probably don't like me. Um, they hit a price point that's just so awesome for the knife community, for an American-made knife company. They do a lot of great stuff, but I can't help but get the thought that there are just too many suits over there and not enough users calling the shots, because they've hit some home runs, in my opinion, that they did not market well enough to see their full potential, and everything else that they're doing to me just looks terrible. And the things that they're spending their energy on marketing just to me looks bad. So I really hope something changes over there, because I want them to stick around. I do like them regardless of whether they like me or not. I don't know. Come on, guys. Anyways, so what we've got coming up, though, is we're going to compare this knife, the BK9, and the SE Hungless 2. And the SE Hungless 2 and the BK9 is a showdown that has been promised for a long time and that has needed to come for a very long time. And also, I believe, a knife from Shadowtech, the Shadowtech Python Bowie. Now that knife is a little bit different than these other knives. It's an 8-inch blade instead of a 9-inch blade, but it's a 1/4 inch thick and it's hollow ground and it's made out of 8670. So that's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of differences to these knives. We've got stainless knives, we've got 1095, 1095 CV, 8670. We've got full flat grind, saber grind, hollow grind. But the knife is very similar in weight at 20 ounces, and I think it's going to be a very appropriate match with them. And so I'm very excited about that. It's a cool looking blade, and Shadowtech has really caught my attention. Let's see. So my tablet here still says that I started streaming less than a minute ago, and that I have no comments. So I really apologize, guys. I know someone's commenting. I know it for a fact. This is very frustrating. I don't know what to do. And finally, the most important thing that I've got to do for you guys is I've got budget knives to test and essentially destroy. I'm going to be camping Monday and Tuesday, and I think that's going to be my goal for the day. Is we're probably going to work with a Bear Grylls knife on Monday. And I tell you what, every budget knife that I have, that I've reviewed and stuff, it's terrible. It's all a terrible experience. I feel like, you know, it sounds stupid to my viewers, and it sounds especially stupid to the people that actually use these budget knives and enjoy getting out and using them because they don't know anything better. But they're so bad that I hate using them. And that makes doing videos on them suck, because I like doing videos on things that I like if I can help it, especially products. So, but regardless, we're going to go, I've got a couple Walmart knives, and I think Monday we'll take the Bear Grylls out. And one of the first things that happened with the Bear Grylls knife is it has a pull-out ferro rod, and I went to use the ferro rod, and the ferro rod just popped right out of the handle. Just crap. Just utter crap. So anyways, we'll baton a whole bunch of wood with it, and it's got stupid serrades right where I want a straight edge, and I'll probably hate the entire time I use it, but whatever. So, I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I could certainly keep talking for a while, but I'm talking to nobody because I can't read comments, and I feel like that's just wasting you guys' time. So for future reference, I will not use this Kindle. I do apologize for trying to use it and ruining this live feed. At least I hope that you guys had fun watching. Before I go, actually, there is one more thing. If you're following me, you've seen on Instagram and everything else, I've been posting pictures of this knife from Tactical Pterodactyl. It is a custom. He sent it to me for evaluation. He wants my opinion, a little bit of a write-up, and I'm certainly going to do some video footage of it for him, because this knife is one of my favorite customs. It is 52-100. and it's hardened to 60 to 61 HRC, which makes it one of the hardest knives that I own. But here's what's unique about it is it looks trendy to me. Okay, when I first posted pictures of it, this dude wrote like 17 paragraphs calling it a stupid toy knife and a California pry bar and this and that and the other. And what's sad is I know where he's coming from, because if the knife performed like it looked based on other knives, that's what it would be. What he didn't realize is it looks chunky and bigger in pictures. The lines that that Frankie uses makes it look chunky, but the reality is this is an 1/8 inch stock. This is a 6-inch overall knife, and that edge is so dang thin that this thing is a slicing machine. I've been cutting onions with it, potatoes, all kinds of kitchen chores. The finish that he uses, I guess it's just a normal acid finish, is tough. It got a little bit of a blue color, which I like because I like my patina, but it's a tough finish. It's not even really patina-ing. This knife is so cool for a little custom. And so it's very practical. Now, we've got guys that don't like the jimping. It's not really sharp jimping. It hasn't bothered me at all, but he can do it without the jimping. But I think what I really want to say about this blade is Tactical Pterodactyl for Frankie Blades does fairly affordable custom knives that are small, that look so cool. And when I say affordable for a custom knife, these go for about $180, and in Super Steel's $250. It's a really cool way to get into the custom market. And the reason I say that, and it's going to sound so stupid if you don't have the context, when I got into the custom knife game, I was trying to get cheap custom knives, and they were terrible. Every custom knife that I got sucked for a while. And I had this like fake idea that because a knife was custom that it was going to be really cool, and that's not how it works. And a lot of times any retard can make a knife. It takes skill and determination and know-how to make a good knife, but you can make a shank in prison out of nothing if you're determined enough. If you're not worried about anything else, any retard can make a knife. Which means that when you're buying cheap customs from someone who doesn't have a good reputation, there's a good chance that it just comes in sucking, probably worse than a production knife. So getting into the production scene, here's if I was going to tell you to spend money on a custom knife, I would not advise you to buy a large chopper. Large choppers are more likely to break. You're abusing the dog crap out of them. But more importantly, that knife that you spent all of that money on, you're hardly ever going to use it or carry it, if it's even good. Because a large chopper, handle geometry is so much more important on a large chopper than it is on a small knife. So if you're going to buy a custom, invest in a custom, get a small fixed blade that you can carry every single day and love and appreciate every day. So I just wanted to end with that knife. With that thought, I like this knife so much. I was surprised about how much I like this knife. It's one of my favorite customs, just hands down. So, anyways, guys, all right. I guess I've said my spiel. It wasn't as organized as I wanted, and obviously this is not the video I wanted to make, but this is the video I made. I'll talk to people in the comments section below later. Thank you for watching. Turn off the old lantern here. There we go. And I hope you have a blessed day. So I'll talk to you soon.